Yo, what's up, guys? I'm gonna talk about collector tokens right now. I get a lot of questions every single day about should I buy this card, should I buy this card, should I save my tokens? So I'm gonna give you my opinion right now. I am going to break down the best cards that you should buy in Series 3, 4, and 5. But I do just want to say at first, I don't think you should actually spend your tokens on any Series 3 cards. You're going to open these pretty frequently compared to the Series 4 and 5 cards that are very infrequent. So I would recommend just trying to hold off as much as possible on the Series 3 cards because you will just naturally get them at a decent rate. I mean, it seems like most people collect they finish their collection around 3K collection level. So while that may seem like a lot depending on where you are, I think you will be very happy that you saved those tokens for other things. You are also guaranteed one Series 4 card in every 40 boxes that you open. And that's if you've completed Series 3 or not. It's just in general. So you will get those eventually, guaranteed. The Series 5 cards, those are going to be a bit tougher to get. Those are only at 0.25%. I do recommend buying Series 3 cards only if it's like very, very powerful cards or something that you really, really want. So I'm going to go over the Series 3 cards that I think are the best things to buy with your tokens. So keep in mind that all these cards that I recommend, if they do get changed in some kind of way, if they get nerfed, then you will not get any tokens back, because once you make a purchase in the token shop, it says no refunds. So just be careful about that. I mean, we start off with a card like Arrow right here, which is clearly one of the best cards in the game. And a lot of people thought that it was going to get changed last patch, so I would not be surprised if this does get changed in the future. But yes, this card is one of the best cards. Totally recommend you buy this card. The next card is Brood, which I wouldn't really recommend unless you bought the season pass this season and you got Silver Surfer, because this card is really, really strong with Silver Surfer. And yeah, but you also probably are going to need Sarah as well. So some of these cards might be dependent on what you already own in your collection, but if you do have Brood, then Sarah is just a very good card in general, very strong effect, and it did get changed last patch, but it only lost 1 power. It's still very good. So if you're looking to get a card that's good for a lot of different decks, Sarah is probably a decent pick. Now, if you like playing destroy decks, that destroy your own stuff, like Nova Carnage kind of stuff, Death is, of course, one of the best cards that you could put in that kind of deck. I especially recommend it if you have Wave as well, because Wave, if you have destroyed 2 things, then this card becomes playable with another card on turn 6, and that's a very powerful power swing there. Sticking with the big boys, Destroyer. If you like ongoing decks, this card is one of the most powerful cards that enables that deck to reach a new height. Really, when you lock down a location with Professor X, you have armor down, you have Cosmo. Destroyer is so good for that deck. And yeah, it's a very fun deck to play, so I would recommend you get this one if you want to spend those tokens. One of the most toxic and powerful cards in the game, Leader, is always a good pick to spend your tokens on. This card straight up wins games, and it also wins 8 cubes quite often, because your opponent seems like they're in a very good position. It doesn't seem like they could lose too often, and then Leader comes and beats them with their own cards. So this is probably one of the highest, probably one of the most bought cards in the token shop, if I had to guess. Lockjaw is a pretty good buy as well, maybe the lowest priority, but depending on your collection, you can play a big deck with this. You don't even really need Wasp or Yellow Jacket. You can play some 1-drops like Iceman or Agent 13 in that kind of deck, and it's basically like you play like a mostly big cards in your deck. You have Lockjaw, Jubilee, and allows you to cheat out the big guys. People do also run Lockjaw in a discard deck as well with Apocalypse, and that's pretty cool, and you should be able to have a decent amount of those cards right off the bat. So Lockjaw is pretty playable. It's not really the best card on the list, depending on your collection, but it's very fun, very enjoyable, and it can do some very powerful things. I would say it's more of a high roll card, but high rolling is rolling the dice is always a good time. Wong is one of the strongest cards in the game, actually, if you cannot disrupt it. Now, there are multiple ways to disrupt it, and it could be very easy to play around, especially as you get farther down the Series 3 like collection level route. But if you cannot disrupt this, this is probably one of the best early Series 3 cards that you can get, because it works right out of the gate with White Tiger and Odin and Ironheart, that kind of thing. The last Series 3 card I have right here is Mystique. This card is insanely powerful for 3 energy, but it's going to be relying on the other stuff that you have in your collection. So if you have Cerebro or Patriot, Cerebro and Patriot probably, then I would totally consider getting Mystique. Also, it does work pretty well with Wong. Sometimes you can do crazy things. So yeah, I'm going to jump into a couple Series 4 cards that I think are good buys. So She-Hulk, of course, especially good with Wave, because you can play Wave on 5 and you float 2 mana. So then you can play She-Hulk for 2 and then play another card for 4 energy. This card is just straight up good, especially if you're running a Wave Death kind of thing. Besides that, I don't think it's the best card. I think you need to run a Death Wave kind of scenario, but yeah, this is probably one of the most sought out cards in Series 4. And the other Series 4 card is Titania. It's not really the most flashy card, but 1 energy for 5 power, and you could also block your opponent's lane off if you play it correctly. It does struggle against Killmonger, and of course if a deck is running Carnage, then they can actually eat the Titania if they get it on their side, which is very, very bad. I've had it happen to me a few times. But this card is very strong in a Zoo deck, just like a token kind of deck, so I would recommend this if you are looking to get a Series 4 card. Honestly, the Series 5 cards are not that impactful. I think they're more fun as opposed to just like straight up good. I mean, I have Galactus and Super Scroll. Super Scroll is probably the worst card that you can get, but Galactus is powerful, but it does get countered very easily, and I actually get countered way too much when I play that card, so it doesn't even do too much for me. If I was gonna recommend Series 5 cards, it would probably be between Bast and Valkyrie, but it does depend on your collection. Bast is very good in a Mr. Negative Silver Surfer deck at the moment, and in like a lower token kind of deck. And then Valkyrie is a pretty good control card, and also good in like a lower token deck, probably with Bast as well. So I don't know that I could really recommend buying a Series 5 card. It's really going to depend on what you really have and how many tokens you have, but yeah. The bad thing about Series 5 cards is that you don't really open them too often. It's 0.25%. So I haven't even opened one myself, and I've advanced over 1,000 collection levels since the last update. A new card being released almost every single week at the moment, so and those are going to go into Series 5, I believe. So I would save my tokens. If none of these stand out to you, then I would just save it for something else, because these cards have not been that impactful yet, but I'm sure as more cards get added to the game, these cards will get stronger and stronger. So we also just don't know when Series 5 cards are going to go down to Series 4, and when Series 4 cards are going to go into Series 3. They haven't really released the full information on that just yet, so I would honestly recommend just saving all of your tokens up in general, just not even buying anything unless it's a card that you really, really want, because we don't know when they're going to get cheaper, and of course there's no refunds on these purchases. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. I know it's hard to just hold out for more information, but I hope this video helped you decide how you want to spend your tokens a little better, and what you're really looking for. Leave a comment down below on what cards you bought with your tokens. I would love to see what you guys have gotten. I've heard some horror stories about people buying cards like Super Scroll that are just unplayable. I mean, I bought it myself, but I already have a full Series 3, so thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Peace.